right, our topic today is alternatives in assessment. But first, let's answer this question. What is the difference between assessment and evaluation? Do you know any difference? Have you heard any differences? Oops. Hey guys, what's the difference? You can write in the chat box if you don't know the difference, if you're shy. What's the difference between assessment and evaluation? Nobody. Assessment is more general. Writing. Assessment. Okay, assessment is feedback mechanism for both students and teachers. Okay, and what about evaluation? Okay, well, assessment is more like a feedback. It's like formative assessments, and evaluation is a summative assessment. So when you just say assessment, yeah, just the assessment means it is formative assessments. We give feedback to students, and it is assessment for learning, not of learning, but for learning, to improve our students' knowledge and mastery. And it might be instant, it might be at every lesson. Yeah, and it is usually a process. Yeah, from the very beginning till the end. Of course, while evaluation is summative assessments, when we evaluate how much our students know, and it doesn't happen very often. Yeah, but it doesn't happen throughout. It might happen throughout the course, but in certain periods of time. Yeah. So it's a summative assessment. This is the difference. I recommend watching two lectures on YouTube. Rebecca Burton explains the difference between evaluation and assessment. And William Dillon gives a very nice and interesting lecture on formative assessments, what it is like and how it should be given, and its importance. All right, exit ticket is a kind of formative assessment that we can use. What is it? Actually, it's a piece of paper handed in by students to their teachers when they exit the classroom. So when the lesson ends, they just give the ticket to their teachers. Yeah. Well, it has some questions, yeah, concerning the lesson. They're specific, and there are usually no more than 3 questions. Students have to answer those questions individually. They are allotted specific time, like 2 minutes. It doesn't last very long, maybe 5, or no longer than that. And they hand it to their teachers. So it's a great assessment tool that can help plan instruction. That can improve your instruction. Maybe if the majority of students write that they didn't understand the topic today, it might mean that you need to revise it, yeah, at the following lesson, in the following lesson. How can we use an exit ticket? Well, because we have to create it first. There are lots of different handouts, templates actually on the internet. If you just search, I'll show you in this lecture a few. And you should base your questions on the learning goals or lesson goals. Yeah, learning goals of your lesson, specific lesson. Then you should set specific time for completion. Usually it's the last 5 minutes. Yeah, it's the revision part of the lesson. Then you stand at the door and collect tickets as students leave the classroom. You should clarify. Yeah. Then you should clarify. Yeah, examine the tickets carefully. Sort the tickets into piles that demonstrate students have grasped the contents. Yeah. So several piles. One pile which shows that students actually understood the topic, and another topic, another pile that students do not understand. Yeah, I actually might have another pile of yours that there might be different criteria, like the most interesting piles, for example. Yeah, and then you might start the next lesson with interesting ticket responses. Yeah, like for example, because, and you say why. Yeah. When to use an exit ticket. Read the all right, and a variation of exit ticket might be verbal exit tickets. Yeah. For example, if you learned a vocabulary today, new words, let's say, uh, before leaving the classroom, every student must tell you like 5 new words that he learned today. Yeah, very interesting. And those words should not repeat. Yeah, other students should not repeat the same 5 words. For example, if you wanted to make it a bit more difficult, yeah, or just name any 5 or maybe 3 words that you learned today. As students stand in line, they can discuss different possible answers before they reach you. Yeah? This is also variation. Yeah. So, or it might be a different question, like depending on the topic. Yeah. If it was a text, maybe you'll ask a question about the text. Feedback on exit tickets. You can start the next class by grouping strong and weak students for discussion. Yeah. Put them in groups. Yeah. Demonstrate the best exit tickets and then give feedback by yourself. Maybe you'll ask the same questions and students will discuss it in their groups. Yeah. And then you can give feedback depending on the answers of the exit tickets. All right, here are the examples of exit tickets. There are 3 examples. The biggest one is on the left. Look, directions. 3 things I learned today. So students must write 3 things they learned today. 2 things they found interesting. And 1 question I still have. Right, so a very nice exit ticket. It might take longer than 3 minutes. It might be 5 or 7 maybe, but I think it's worth it. Another exit ticket here is on the right. What is the synonym of gorgeous? The students write beautiful, yeah, handsome, attractive, whatever. Use your synonym in a sentence. Yeah, it would be as simple as this exit ticket. Yeah. And another one at the bottom. What is the difference between past simple and past continuous? So it was a grammar lesson, for example. Again, write 1 sentence using both tenses at once. So here you'll immediately see if students actually grasp the idea, the topic or not. All right. So there are a few YouTube videos on exit tickets. I do recommend that you watch them. I'll send the PowerPoint presentation too. I'll upload it to our Google Classroom. Please watch them. They're very interesting and worth watching. All right, let's continue with summative assessments. Yeah. What is summative assessment? We must know that it's unlike formative assessment. Yeah, it is different. It's unlike formative assessments. Yeah, summative assessments are high-stake exams. Yeah. So in formative assessment, we don't grade students. We provide feedback, but in summative assessment, we grade them. We give grades, and this is why they're called high-stakes exams, because a lot of things depend on students on those exams. Yeah. Okay. Summative assessments are almost always graded. I would even remove almost. They're always graded. Yeah. They are less frequent. So maybe 3 times throughout the whole semester, maybe 5 assignments. Yeah. But not at every lesson. And please turn off your microphones, guys. And they occur at the end of segments of instruction. So you teach one unit, for example, and at the end of the unit, you have an exam. Yeah. If you teach several units, or for example, it's a midterm exam. Yeah, you have an exam at the end of it. Okay. Performance-based assessments is a kind of summative assessment, and it's very popular nowadays. Here is the definition. On the top, performance-based assessment includes any activity that provides an opportunity students to demonstrate their learning and knowledge. Yeah. And below are some examples. Actually, not examples, but the benefits. Yeah. They're considered one of the best forms of assessment because they require students to demonstrate their knowledge instead of simply parroting back memorized facts. So instead of just asking the term, for example, what does grading language mean? Maybe we should have our students demonstrate how they can grade a language. Maybe we could give a passage used by a teacher and ask our students to simplify the language to a lower level, for example, elementary level students. And this way, we will see that our students actually can grade their language according to the student's level. Yeah. Instead of just saying the term. Actually, this is what I'm going to do in our final exam. I'll give you some words and topics, and you'll have to construct tests. This is why we're practicing them in our seminars. Yeah? The last 5 weeks, actually. We practiced last week, and we're going to practice 4 more weeks. All right. So there are 3 types of performance-based assessments. First is product assessment. It's when students have to produce a real-world product. Yeah. For example, in literature class, it might be a short story. They write a short story. In history class, it might be a timeline. Yeah. They develop a timeline of a war or of a certain period of time in history. In practical English, it might be an essay. It might be a report. Yeah. It might be portfolio, actual, yeah, collection of different works like portfolio. Yeah. It might be even a debate because it's a kind of product. All right. The second one is performance assessments. When teachers directly observe the application of taught skills or information. So it might be observing a final speech in the public speaking class, presentations. Yeah. When students present something. And the third one, process-focused assessments. This is what our students in our geography actually don't like a lot because they think that product is more important than process. You know, our students usually do A and B. but they don't like doing C because you have to attend classes on a regular basis. Yeah. Because teachers evaluate the whole process. They evaluate the first draft of the essay, they evaluate the second draft of the essay, and only then they evaluate the final draft. Yeah. But our students they only want the final draft to be evaluated. Yeah. We had this kind of incidents a lot in previous years when the teacher evaluated the process, not only the last one. But students insisted, like, but I have my essay, it's ready. Why don't you just evaluate the essay? But it's not only the essay. We should see how much progress the student made throughout the whole term, yeah? Okay. Here's the definition, yeah? Process-focused assessments through which teachers can evaluate the process of learning as well as the outcome. So it's not only outcome, but also the process, such as when the teacher has students show their work or think out loud as they answer questions. All right, and let's continue with alternative assessments. Alternative assessments procedures listed by Huerta Marca are these: checklists, journals, logs, videotapes, audio tapes, self-evaluation, and teacher observations. Yeah, Brown and Hudson, they add a few more, like portfolios, conferences, diaries, okay, self-assessments, and peer assessments. And now let's answer the question, guys. What makes assessments alternative? Now, what's the difference between alternative and traditional assessments? Can you give me you can write in the chat box. So what's the difference between alternative and traditional? Please don't Google. Yeah, tell your own opinion. Okay, so let's draw here when students are graded not only by teachers. Okay. It might be one of the elements of alternative assessment. Alternative may be additional. Okay. Maybe. Alternative should replace the traditional question. Actually, no, it shouldn't. And it's a common misunderstanding that alternative works best and we should use only alternative assessments. It just sounds popular, you know, like alternative medicine or alternative art, modern art. You know, I don't understand modern art a lot, but there is a new tendency. It's quite fashionable, and people think that modern art is even better than traditional one. Okay, alternative is more detailed and frequently used. Not exactly. Right, let's continue. Let's see. Well, these are the common characteristics of alternative assessments, according to Anchbeiher. Yeah. So first, they require problem solving and higher level thinking. Please read them by yourselves. So as we notice here, 3 main points: higher level thinking is engaged, real world contexts are used, and we evaluate process as well as products. Yeah. And another definition by Herman, Wecker, and Winters. Similar. Yeah, there are three similar points that were mentioned by Hutchbacher. Yeah. And what do we have? Yeah, so we have some extra elements here. Ensure that people do the scoring using human judgment. It might be true for essays, because nowadays we have some programs that evaluate even essays. So they say that it must be human evaluation, because machine cannot see all the nuances, all the beauty of the paper. Yeah. Call upon teachers to perform new instructional and assessment roles. It could be like self-assessment, peer assessment, yeah, feedback. Okay, and alternatives, yeah, in assessment, yeah. Again, it's Brown and Hudson, yeah, Brown and Hudson. View procedures like portfolios, conferences, diaries, self-assessments, not as alternative assessments, but rather as alternatives in assessment. So we shouldn't call the sorry, here, yeah, I've skipped just one slide. New assessments alternatives are always exciting and interesting, but educators, yeah, should not view them as somehow magically different. So they're actually not that magically different. Yeah. For example, the characteristics of alternative assessments here require problem solving and higher level of thinking. Well, don't we use them in traditional assessment? For example, let's say tests or essays. Don't students use a higher level of thinking? Actually, they do. Yeah. When they write an essay, they have to respond, solve a problem, maybe. Yeah. Actually do that. Real world context and simulations. Again, essays, aren't they real? Actually, what they do, we write essays in real life as well. Well, at least when we apply for something or if they report, yeah, we write reports. Focus on procedures as well as products. Again, if it's first draft, second draft, and third draft, we do it in traditional assessment as well. Actually, we've been doing that for decades, yeah, at least in Europe and in North America. So we shouldn't be tricked by this name, like alternative assessment. Wow, alternative medicine. Yeah? Because again, the name of alternative might be destructive. Yeah, it might imply three things. A, that procedures are somehow or completely different. They're something new. Actually, they're not that new. And actually, A and B, yeah, somehow something new, something completely different, or that they're exempt from the requirements of responsible test construction and decision making, as if they even construction of these tests are different. But actually, no. This is why Brown and Hudson prefer calling them not as alternative assessments, but rather as alternatives in assessment, right? Because language teachers have always done assessment in one form or another, and these new procedures are just new developments in that long tradition, right? So there are new forms of assessment but still we try to engage higher order thinking anyways. We try to use real world tasks, which is still true. Yeah. Yeah, but some people prefer to use this term, like alternatives in assessments. Okay, and here Dr. Tuzi has a lecture on alternatives in assessment, on reliability, validity, and practicality. I recommend watching it as well. And I think this is it. This is the end of our lecture.